And we're back in the second half of the topic of the week for Great Scott Marcus, episode 12.
12.
Mark, we've been talking about depression, and you just ended on a pretty salient point about having an understanding towards oneself. And I also think that a topic we actually never touched on is also very important to this point, that I told you to shut up and not say anything during the break so I could remember to say this point.
Did you remember it?
Yes. So digital entertainment has become a surprising portion of almost global lifestyle. A large reason for this, I feel, is because of how we're streamlining the process of living. So, like, we don't have to press all our clothes anymore because, you know, a lot of them are wrinkle-free, or we don't dress as nice as we used to because it's really not that pertinent. And things like that. You don't have to spend all day doing laundry because there's a machine that does it now. Same with the dishes.
Unless you're OCD like myself.
Yeah, same with the dishes, same with preparing dinner. And so, you know, digital entertainment is a large portion of our lifestyle, and not only having people to look up to in your life, but having these characters and stories that also help you through this entertainment you want to consume is also important. I very much had that in high school, and fortunately I learned that in high school, that these characters, especially a few characters I was playing in video games, were actually role models for me, and I'm sure a lot of that recognition that I made back then at a young age helped me here, that I could spend time with video game characters, and I could feel satisfaction out of that. I could say, man, I'm so happy, you know, that this character's story worked out, and, you know, I look up to them, and, you know, some of the things they said stick with me. And it's funny because we were just talking about attraction in the latter half of the or in the first half of the topic. This is the latter half, Scott. And
the former.
So here comes some spoilers for those of you who might have never seen The Legend of Korra. Mark, I know it's a cartoon. You're probably not going to watch it.
Probably not.
It's nice that we're starting to see character representations of multiple attractions, because, you know, like, I think about my friend, I think about other friends who are gay and go through depression, and yet they also love digital entertainment. But most of the digital entertainment up until, you know, only recent years has been about straight people a lot of the time. And it's just like, it's very important that these powerful characters are starting to come out where, you know, a woman is attracted to a woman, or at least there's that suggestion that they have an attraction to one another and, you know, at the end of the story. And that's very important to have these things in your life, because I think, at least in my opinion, digital entertainment exists to fill the vacuum in which we would typically be doing work or busy life activities to prevent ourselves from going batshit crazy.
Well, I think finding anything relatable to, you know, any given circumstance is always a great thing to have. Whether it is games, movies, music. I mean, music's always been a big thing in my life, you know, going through you know, bits of depression, you know, whether it's a breakup or, you know, the passing of someone, or a giant physical change to oneself. You know, music was always, you know, there for me, and, you know, it was just a stress reliever. And, you know, whether it's not like, you know, the words completely recapitulate the events in your life, but I think it's just the emotion behind it, you know, can really kind of help vent and clarify what exactly is going on in your brain. So, yeah, not really much of a, I guess, you know, the point, is there a point to that?
Does there have to be?
You know, just like, no, not really. Why have a point? Because we're just conversing, you know, like, yeah, like having something relatable is great.
Something that just hits home You know, I talk about character, but sometimes it just doesn't even need character. In fact, most of the depression I went through with the pain aspect of what I'm going through, I feel like a lot of the depression I'm going through as of recent is because I am re-emerging from this thing, and I have to go find a job and almost become a person of society again. I won't. I'm going to stay locked in my house most of the time. But yeah, like I spend a lot of time in Minecraft, and finding satisfaction too. You know, I mentioned it. You know, like finding satisfaction in like the events of entertainment on Netflix or in a movie. But the same thing, you know, just in occupying yourself, a phone game, Sudoku, Solitaire, or Minecraft, where you know, like I found satisfaction through building. And you know, you witnessed
like
a part of that, and I even said, ironically, I said that to Jen today. I was just like,
it is very
man, I forgot how therapeutic this is, you know, playing Minecraft today.
You guys, I'm a lifelong Lego person. You know, I've been playing with Lego since I was 5, and I still want Lego sets for like Christmas. You know, because it's like therapeutic and like it's mindless, and it's almost like you can, shit. It's almost like
shit. I mean, I don't think you should put shit in the Lego set, but I guess you could return the box with shit in it to the store. That's kind of mean.
Kind of mean, yeah. There's a quote from a movie, and I'm not going to say it, but basically saying how, you know, to meditate, you need to like focus a certain part of your brain on like a mundane task. So it's like when you're doing something, you know, like building in Minecraft, which I did it with you too, and it was a lot of fun. Or building Legos, or in this movie, he's actually disassembling and reassembling a gun. You know, it's something it's like mindless task that you can keep doing over and over again. And it's kind of like it frees your brain of thinking too much about outside things. And it's kind of funny. What really helped me recently with my previous bout of depression was learning about like Zen. You know, that kind of lifestyle.
I was really hoping you were going to say Cox, but keep going.
Oh, there's plenty of those in my life. You know,
Game
like just
Cox.
learning something new.
Oh, I'm sorry. In case anybody was confused out there, I meant the chickens that fight, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big old fighting cock.
Yeah.
No, like learning something new and understanding a different lifestyle, understanding a different way of thinking. Really helped out because it's very yin and yang type stuff. I mean, you know, it's not like saying exactly that, but you know, there's without negatives there are no positives, and being able to relate that to something simple like rain. It rained earlier today, and it's like when it starts raining, we don't panic and say, "Oh my God, it's never going to stop raining," because we know that it will stop raining at some point. That's the negative.
Can't have an appreciation for a nice sunny day without a rainy day.
Without
or
night,
snow. Or
without night, there is no day. Without winter, there is no summer. So, you know, learning something like that and actually reading about it and, you know, it really helped a lot. 'Cause, you know, like I was going through something pretty shitty. And I was, you know, it's like your brain focuses on the negative, on the negative, on the negative. And then, you know, when I was reading about this, it kind of forces you to think, like, well, this is something horrible, so there has to be something positive out of this, which, you know, I still think it, you know, and I really hope that I stick with this kind of thinking for a long time, because I think it's a great way to think. You know, you're not to say anything bad about any other religions or thoughts, but, you know, saying like all this is all because of one person. So thing like even that though, you know, if you are to like thank God or Jesus for everything that happens in life, or say like if it's under God's will, then I feel like there's still a positive out of that. You know, I feel like that's how most people would think about it. So I don't know. I really liked that, and like I said, I really hope that kind of sticks with me for a while, and I think it will. Yeah, you know, I guess a little advice for getting out of depression is learn something.
Definitely. I think, you know, it's very easy, you know, I feel it seems easy to, in the mind of adolescents, to be like, oh, you know, I went through depression and I didn't want to share it, and, you know, like I had to talk to doctors about it, and it was just awful, and it was just like, yeah, because that's the stigma our society gives it.
Well, when you're young too, you don't really know any better either. Like, you it's like if you're a baby and the first time you smack your hand on a wall, it's going to hurt. And in fact, it's probably the worst thing you've ever felt in your entire life until that moment, until something worse happens. Like, it's kind of a weird thought. So I feel like, if you're my big head mode, sorry.
I love you.
Yeah, that was fucking with my water. But like, if you're depressed, like let's say you're 13 years old and you're depressed, this is the very first time you probably felt depression. So that is the most depressed you've ever been in your entire life, and you're only 13. You don't.
I mean, there's a chance. There's a chance that you have felt depressed before without recognizing what it was.
Right.
It could just be a brief stint. But I do think that. There's a lot of just like depression is, like there are commercials for it. It's just like depression is awful, and you shouldn't have to live with that. And it's just like, no. You can live with it, and I'm not saying you have to live with it, and that you shouldn't pull yourself out of it. I just feel that there is this idea that like everything should be happy and great, and life is magical and rainbows and butterflies. No, like
it's not.
The bad is here, and it's going to stay for a long while until we kill it with technology, which might never happen. And
24 hours of daylight and no winter. It's going to be fucking
Is night really that bad? Does it always have to be day? That sounds awful.
No, I like the night. I'm just, my analogy earlier.
And yeah, so like I think, I definitely at least want to put myself out there as being someone who said, take something away from it. Don't... Things will own you. I think that is... I cannot personally deny that. I live in pain. Like, shit is going to take control of you at times, and it's going to suck. Sometimes it's a job. Sometimes it's a car accident. You have no control in a lot of those. And... sometimes it's depression, but that doesn't mean that you can't take back from it. The car accident, the job, take back and learn, and that's exactly what I did. I didn't even know it when I was in high school, and fortunately, it really paid off about a year and a half back, and it's paid off a lot. It pays off now that I can identify what is happening to me right now, and probably, one of the larger reasons why. And yeah, like, it's undeniable that depression sucks, but that doesn't mean that it is all awful. The human experience is here. It is in you right now, and you should always be taking away from it. Damn, that was a really good point. We should just end right now.
Probably should.
Wow. Words came out of me.
On the same thing for the next 20 minutes, but I mean...
No, I'm fine with having some, like 12 to 15 minute topics, but just there is a lot. There's always a lot to unpack with a lot of our topics, and really, it's just all of this is always going to be our experience. Again, the kind of disclaimer we're going to always be including is that I'm losing hair. No, I'm going to use treatment on that, the disclaimer is that this is always a conversation between myself and Mark that we choose to share with an audience that right now isn't there. Might be eventually, but yeah, like, this isn't an advice show. Sometimes it sounds like we're giving advice, but that's pretty much between ourselves and each other. But yeah, depression is weird, but like a lot of, human shit, it's all weird.
What once got me out of like it helps often. It's like just tough love. Like when you're down about something, you're bummed, then someone's just like, yeah, that fucking happened.
Yeah.
Now what? Like, now you gotta do, you gotta go to the next gear. You gotta, yeah. I don't know. Like, sometimes like you need that. So it's not always just It's like, oh, you gotta, it's okay. You'll get out of it. You'll be fine. Just do
No,
this.
no,
Like,
that definitely doesn't always
yeah,
work.
sometimes you need that kick in the groin to really kind of get you out of whatever funk you're dealing with. And it's not gonna, you don't need. It's not the definitive answer.
Yeah, definitely not. Like,
no.
as of late, I've been trying to kick myself in the dick, and trust me, it's very difficult.
Bullshit.
I've been trying to get myself motivated, and it's there is never one simple answer, and
motivation's hard in general. Like whether you're depressed or
hitting yourself. Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, to motivate yourself to kick yourself in the dick, it's a little difficult.
It doesn't
but
work.
Like, it's just like get motivated to do other things. Like applying for jobs or trying to hone in on some freelance work, shit like that. Like motivation's it's a whore. I don't like it.
Yeah, I truly do feel the like get your nose to the grindstone approach just is always such a specific approach that it's just like it cannot be applied to every situation.
I think my problem is like a conducive area to get motivated is tough to find.
But like here's the thing, like at times it still is this desk, and for a long time after college, especially for that first year, it was this desk, and for a while I even stepped away from here and hooked everything up to a different screen, was near a couch and a recliner instead of right here, and yeah, like no one area is ever going to always work,
right?
And yeah, human shit again. Like that's all it really circles back to at this point, because it's just like something will work 90% of the time, but 10% of the time it's just going to be like, oh man, today sucks because I can't like focus. Like, what's wrong with me? And you drink way too much caffeine, and then you jump out of an airplane for some reason. You forgot the parachute, and everything was a mistake that day.
But you can still live. It's happened. People jumping out of airplanes and
I know.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that movie with Jason Statham. He was like on some kind of like experimental drug.
Did he beat the shit out of somebody?
Yes. It was that one where it had a not a graphic fuck scene. It had like a tastefully. All right, so it's so hard to call that tastefully done because he basically bends a chick over like at a coffee shop. And,
that's not tasteful at all.
And then spoilers, at the end he jumps out of a plane and he just like hits a car, bounces, and then hits the pavement, and like it looks like he's dead, and then you hear his heart start to beat, and then Crank, that was it. And then they made Crank 2.
So if you haven't seen Crank 1, then well,
then don't, because it wasn't great.
I have like two favorite sex scenes that were like barely even sex scenes in movies. One is in Rock and Rolla. It happens. It's like 3 seconds where it's like Gerard Butler is like he's at his home, and then Tandy Newton like rings the doorbell. You know what I'm talking about? No, and like. And he's
wow,
like, what do you want?
I can't believe
and she's like, you know what I want. He's like, well, you better come in then. And it's just like it's like 6 different. It's like close up of like her face, his face, and like it's just like then light the cigarette and done. Like
I remember that now. That Ramble Entertainment guys were not always on topic. Yeah. I've talked with a couple of people about that recently, where it's just like. That is one of the reasons I'm actually not the biggest fan of Game of Thrones. That's why I didn't give a fuck about True Blood, because sex is such filler. There is so very unoften a pertinent sex scene. In fact, subtlety and illusion is often better, as you just referenced in Rock and Roller.
Looper. There's that sex scene also with Brick. I think it's a Rian Johnson thing, so maybe it'll happen in Star Wars Episode 8, where it's just like they make out, and then the camera just kind of goes to black, and then it fades from black, and then someone's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. You just kind of get that there's illusion. It's not a sex
exactly.
scene.
But it's so tasteful because you're like, you don't need to see clothes coming off, and like you don't need to watch them.
You
make
don't
out
need
for
boobs.
30
Yeah,
seconds.
you don't. Yeah. Like it's
the illusion
all
that happened is very interesting. So then you're like, did it happen? Did it?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's fine to just drive it home. Yes, it happened, but like,
especially in porn, it's good for porn.
It's just but yeah, most of the time it's just not pertinent. But man, there was one I was going to reference that I was just like, yeah, that was one that's very memorable. But no, I can't even think of the movie.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, again,
it's fine.
Sex is, we kind of touched on this in the Ramble, where it's just like sex is just kind of like one of those things where it's just like you have to know how to broach this, and if you don't, then don't. Yeah, it's just like, and I feel like that's, I was talking with someone, he was just like, do you watch Game of Thrones? Like, I'm excited for the new season, and I was just like, I don't, because, like, I just never got into it, and, all the sex stuff is just like, it's not pertinent to me. So.
Yeah. I gotta watch that tomorrow.
Sex is kind of pertinent to depression.
I don't know. Like,
it can cause depression. It can relieve it.
Spell, but I don't know. I almost don't. I'm like, I'm
not saying it's 100% pertinent. Yeah. I'm just saying, like,
some people can affect it directly. Like, I've been sex in like 4 days. I'm so depressed. I'm like, fuck off, man.
Yeah.
Like, if like your life revolves that much around sex, like you need something else. Have a
problem.
Absolutely. Like eat something. Like go to sleep.
But I mean, like, yeah, it can cause depression. It can relieve it. Yeah. Like, you can have sex and then be depressed afterwards, or be completely de-stressed. So it's anyway. This has been episode 12 of Gray Scott Marcus, where in the topic we talked about sex for a while.
I know it's on our minds.
Not mine. Lately.
Miss intimacy, not like sex, but just like being close with somebody and being like, intimacy, like real connection. I miss that, not just like.
Obviously, I'm gonna miss that because Jen does not live here, so.
Yeah.
But all right. Since we're here, well, I mean, it's actually completely pertinent to the topic, like. That is another side of it. Like, I was in pain. And if I'm being completely literal here, like, there were times where, relieving oneself was would actually add to pain. And so, like, that was another thing to have to get over, where it was just like, man, like, I can't be with someone for a while.
Yeah.
And so that helped as well, and I also think that has helped me to form a healthier relationship, because I don't have this need, this like, it was never a constant drive, but this drive or constant drive, which I don't have, to be with someone. I want
to your seed.
Yeah, I never got that mentality, but like, yeah, it has helped. It has helped me to form one of the healthiest relationships in my life. I have a very honest, very open, and
Oh, I feel like a really sharp pain. I don't know what it's about.
Life
going.
Drink some water if you don't have some, or if you have.
I do, but it's like my lungs is weird.
Probably a rib pain. You don't get those regularly?
No.
Huh.
Yeah,
that was basically it. Like, I have, because I went through depression, and I wasn't able to be around a chick or chicks. It helped me to form, to be able to form a very healthy relationship with a girl I want to be with for likely the rest of my life.
Oh, that's cute.
Shut up and die. This has been the 12th.
We're done here. God damn it hurts.
Stop talking. This has been the 12th episode. Really, you're gonna push it for that? of Great Scott Marcus, I'm Scott. That one's Mark. And yeah, we'll be back for more next week. Like, subscribe, share if you feel so inclined. Remember, we're tiny at this point. And every one of those likes, subscribes, shares, views, they really do matter to us. So you're appreciated out there. Thank you for watching, and see ya. And
internet, do good things.
Nice.